This video will discuss Faraz Zakaria's lecture in Lowy Institute regarding the United States-China relations. This video will cover bipolar international system, US strategy to encounter China, Asia relations with US and China, and lastly, COVID-19 effects of geopolitics.
After the World War II, the United States and Soviet Union are two hegemonic powers that make up the bipolar international system. However, after the collapse of Soviet Union along with Mikhail Gorbachev's resignation, United States have been regarded as the world hegemonic power. Hence, the international system have changed from bipolar to unipolarity. However, in this 21st century, the world is moving towards bipolarity after years of unipolar. This is because China is rising in many sectors and threatening the United States hegemonic power.
Yes, sir. Faraz Zakaria emphasized that the international system is shifting from unipolar to bipolar with the rise of China. Farid believed that both China and the United States need to coexist and cooperate rather than threatening each other's sovereignty and leadership in global stage. There are some initiatives by Washington and Beijing towards cooperation. In 2014, Chinese President Xi Jinping called on his American counterpart to jointly work toward a new model of major country relations characterized by non-conflict, non-confrontation, mutual respect, and win-win cooperation. To strengthen the US-China relation, President Trump hosted his Chinese counterpart at Mar-a-Lago, where they agreed to 100-day action plan to advance bilateral economic cooperation. The cooperation showed to be fruitful as a month later, the two sides released a 10-part trade deal as the initial result of the action plan.
Senior Chinese and US officials met here on Wednesday, 7th November. Yang Jiechi, a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China, met with US National Security Advisor John Bolton at the White House. During their talks, Yang and Bolton expressed willingness to enhance the communication and cooperation in bilateral relations and on important international and regional issues. The two also agreed that the upcoming second China-US diplomatic and security dialogue will help make preparatory work for the planned meeting of the heads of states of the two countries during the G20 summit in Argentina. However, this cooperation might not be able to last long. As quoted by the international relations expert, cooperation between the United States and Beijing are only helping China to grow. Beijing has used to benign US approach to the rise of Chinese power to strengthen its domestic economy, and thus the CCP's hold on power, to enhance its military capabilities and increase its diplomatic and geo-economic sway in Asia and beyond, all while free-riding on the international order and public goods provided by the United States and its allies. In addition, the prominent rise of China in the economic sector might topple the United States' economic power. In 2021, the United States is leading the world with the highest GDP. However, China is closing the gap with 7.1 trillion USD. China's rapid growth in economy, even with the global pandemic crisis, is seen as a threat towards the United States' hegemony in the economic sector. According to annual percentage of world GDP, China is leading with total 18.34% of world GDP, while the United States GDP covers 15.90% of world GDP. In 2019, China annual GDP growth are the highest with 6.1%, compared to the United States only 2.2%. Economists predict that China economic growth since 2020 could overtake United States GDP by 2028. Furthermore, the Belt and Road Initiative and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, to mention that the most notable of Beijing's economic outreach activities, the BRI also increased China's influence in Asia and Eurasia, On the other hand, United States global economic leadership has been seriously eroded by the global financial crisis and political instability at home. Nevertheless, United States military power remains by far the most formidable. To realize the dream of peaceful bipolar international system, China and the United States can assume differentiated leadership in global governance. China could play the role in promoting economic development, while the United States will play the role in providing security. Moreover, under the differentiated leadership, Washington and Beijing should cooperate with each other in areas where they play a supporting role.
There are two types of United States systematic strategy that United States can apply. First in the economic sector and another in the military sector.
United States strategy to encountering China. Upon the rise of China, China is seen as a threat towards the United States' hegemonic presence in Asia. China's systematic effort to alter the balance of power in Asia diminished the vitality of the US-Asian alliance system, and China goal to replace the United States as the Asian leader. Experts like Blackwell and Tellier stated that Beijing seeks to achieve these goals. Number one, replace US as the primary power in Asia. Number two, weaken the US alliance system in Asia. Number three, using China's economic power to pull Asian nations closer to PRC geopolitical policy preference. Number four, increase PRC military capability to strengthen deterrence against US military intervention in the region. All these goals align with President Xi Jinping aims to undermine the Asian balance power. He asserted that Asia problems ultimately must be resolved by Asians and Asia's security ultimately must be protected by Asians. These statements by the Chinese president strongly indicate that he does not want outside power in Asia countries. To encounter with China's goals, the United States have to respond with systematic strategy to protect its interests in the region. United States economy strategy. During Trump administration, trade war between China and the United States are more strained compared to his predecessor. On March 8, 2018, the US President Donald Trump announced imposing additional tariff on China's export of steel and aluminum to USA. President Trump announced plans to enact sanctions against China over its intellectual property rights (IPR) policies and that negatively affect the U.S. stakeholders. China countered by announcing tariffs on American products in April 1st. April 3rd, the U.S. administration unveiled a list of 1,333 products worth $15 billion in trade to which it intended to apply a 25% tariff. For a few hours later, China released its proportional response 25% tariff on 106 products, also worth $50 billion in trade. United States military strategy are number one, strengthen United States military bases in Asia Pacific. Number two, United States effort to strengthen its military power in Asia. Number three, United States military cooperation with Asian countries. And number four, US China South China Sea military confrontation. United States effort to strengthen its military power in Asia. This means that the United States should invest in defense capabilities and capacity specifically to defeat China's emergence. During the Obama administration, the effort to strengthen United States military power in Asia is small. However, if the US keeps its presence in Asia, observers argue that military conflict between two countries remain a slight possibility under the Trump administration. China threat related to military are its cooperation and military drill with the Russian Federation in East Asia near the United States' strongest Asia ally, Japan.
Next, I'm going to talk about the COVID-19 on the geopolitics. COVID-19 hit up was first detected on November's on the province of China, which was on the Wuhan regions. It was not until early January when the WHO confirmed the first outbreak and the first cases reported outside China was in Thailand. The WHO declared a public health emergency of international concerns on January 2020 and later declared a pandemic on March 2020. And on June 2021, more than 180 million cases have been confirmed. And with more than 3.191 million confirmed deaths attributed to COVID-19, making it one of the deadliest pandemic in the histories. Also, the pandemic has resulted in severe global, social, and economic disruptions, including the largest global recessions since the Great Depressions of the 1930s. Secondly, the COVID-19 hit up, also creating the ideas between China and US, using it as an epidemic to be a political agenda. The coronavirus has crawled across the globe. The COVID-19 outbreak has fueled tensions between the US and China. This led to focusing more on the international relations rather than how to handle the virus outbreak, and yet they have time to fought over the superpowers. And despite the global outbreak, China and US still faces the tensions between both relations. Both were using the COVID-19 as an agenda to pinpoint out the hegemony powers, to some extent using the COVID-19 as a platform to showcase the powers whom has the credibilities to control the global orders on the international levels. The third one is the COVID-19 hit up, also the pandemic revealing the political system of China and United States. The COVID-19 hit up led to health crisis, economic collapse, social and political disruptions. Yet, the ideas and value of nationalism in between those two countries are still different. Strategic competition between the US and China has to some extent fanned the flame of these ideological frictions. And lastly, China-US escalated political ideologies. However, in recent years, nationalism in each countries, the trade war, and COVID-19 has strained the relationship. China and COVID, which happened first in China, would enhance the hatred and outlining how US see China policies and increase ideas on engaging in the global order, using it as an tactic to pinpoint it on China. Hence, the conflicts exacerbated into COVID-19 era. China reactions toward the COVID hit-ups. China's first phase was to restrict the virus from breaking out globally and stopping it from spreading to its provinces. Hence, China commands and orders on a movement restricted orders to the people, telling and asking the people to stay home, and China then declared a total lockdown on the Wuhan city, where the virus was first found. At the first place, China was refused to confirm on the existing of the virus and refused to give a proper information about it, including taking measures toward the health workers whom exposing the existing of the virus at the first place. And with reported of 25 cases on the early stages, China still continue to lie and being untransparent, which we always know that China is always good in their hiding the data of the existing of the viruses. And the US accused China of hiding the extent of the initial outbreak and criticized the terms of the visits, which restricted the freedom of the WHO teams to travel and interview the witnesses, including the community members. China continued to deceive the COVID-19 outbreak and was criticized heavily by the US and the whole wide world. The United States reactions of the COVID-19 hit-ups. The first phase when the COVID-19 happening in United States, it was under Trump administrations. So Trump was underestimating the virus effects, and little did he know that it was worse than he expected, and it has affected whole widely across the US. Even worse, The COVID-19 has led to the racial and inequalities happening around the United States, where the people started to blame the Chinese people and their belief that the COVID-19 is happening because of the China and is from the China people. Also, inequalities happening between the blacks and the white peoples, where the black people who has infected by the viruses had been discriminated in the hospitals. And the second one, that Trump didn't reinstate the national strategies. Instead, the order to manhole and handle the viruses was given to the state and the local leader instead of giving by him, since he underestimated the virus at the first place. The COVID-19 hit ups on the geopolitical system between US and China. As the global pandemic has hit up, it really exposed how the geopolitics is being shaped and how the decision is being made by the politicians in the foreign policies decision makings. The COVID-19 has exacerbated the US and China policies, which worsening the relationships between these two countries. But the critical reason lies in the divergence and contradictions in the two countries' media outlets and the driver of public opinions. Second, the US and the West would criticize China's so-called authoritarian system for being inefficient and accuse China of being untransparent, hiding their data of the COVID-19 to expose the inevitabilities of the high death toll triggers by China's system. Thus, why China and US is trying to forth ensure their hegemonic powers on global order on the international level profiles. And even as China is doing well in fighting COVID-19 now, the West still has not given up finding fault with China to make such criticism and accusations. Hence, why is Trump pinpointing the issue of the outbreak as China tactic to tackling over the international system, which then triggered China, making China to turn the blame on US, as China believed that the virus was sent by US and declare it as a bioweapon strategy implemented by the US. And the interactions between the two sides and with other actors, such as the World Health Organization, have so far squandered historic opportunities for cooperations to tackle a common threat because of this unsettled relationship between China and US. In fact, US choose to withdraw their fund from WHO during the pandemic because US believe that WHO is taking side with China. Apart from China geopolitical ambitions and growing military capabilities, and at the South Asian state, perceptions of the rising China will play a crucial role in shaping the future of Southeast Asia and the US military posture in the regions. Which is why, instead of globalizations, a Cold War could happen between these two countries because of their uneasy relationships. The US-China relationships during the pandemic attacks. US and China has been in a twisted relationships, and due to the global attacks, the relationships are getting deteriorated. As it all started when US started to blaming the China that China is using the meta geopolitics ideas in attempt to gain the domain authorities on global politics, and pinpoints that China is using the virus widespread to taking control over the global orders. This dispute between these two great powers could lead to a fall of global cooperations, or worse, Cold War, instead of a global cooperations and globalizations. Next, I will talk about the Asia-China relations and the Asia-United States relations. Asia and China relationships. South Asia has been fundamental remain importance in the China foreign policies. Infrastructure's investment is crucial to the economic growth and developments of the Asian's member states. Hence, China ideas of the Belt and Road Initiative has emphasized their powers and improved their allies toward the South Asian countries. And main ideas of this trilateral relationship is particularly based on the economics and trade cooperations. China has been ambitious in expanding its Belt and Road Initiative footprints in Southeast Asia, even during the COVID-19 pandemic, since China sees the Southeast Asians as an economic windows. Uh, the Southeast Asia is home to more than 650 million peoples and some of the world's fastest growing economies, making China sees this as an opportunity to improve and grow their economic systems. And located in the geopolitical intersections of Asia and Western Pacifics, China, Japan, and the South Korea have significant implications for East Asia and the Asia Pacific regions. These three countries are mutually vital trade partners to each other and owning a wide range of interests and demands of cooperations on both securities and economic issues. And to be exact, securities thus this demands a trilateral cooperation in light of the growing antagonisms from the North Korea and tensions across the Asia Pacific regions and the US powers, and due to the agreement of course. It is important that these countries have an active engagements with each other to maintain and build a great mechanisms of the securities and defense policies from other great countries who also withhold a great nuclear powers such as the North Koreans. And the active engagement could trigger and improve the capabilities of the Asia countries to withhold the US role in the Asia Pacific. Hence, the partnerships and cooperations on the North Korean peninsula is also their main ideas of the relationships. The Asia and US relationships. During the Obama administrations, Obama came up with an East Asia, which is focusing on the East Asia strategies, named the Pivot to Asia, East Asia. And during the Trump administration, still focusing on emphasizing the and widening powers to the Southeast Asia regions and continents. Both ideas were to making and putting influence on Asia before the China growing its power on the Asia regions. Apart from that, United States also remain a great helps and great support to Asians, taking example from the funding of world banks and military supports or security policies he gave toward Asian region, such as the grant provided by US to the Indonesia, and the military support the US support to the India. Also, we can know that and we can escalate that the Southeast Asians are complementary terms on economic sectors. We can know that the export and import, to be exact, how we are importing and the US is importing economic goods from the Asia regions. While the US-China relationships are, although we know that the relationship has been shaking throughout the administrations, both the Obama and the Trumps, which is triggered by the China great powers. Both countries has their own benefit goods and still rely on each other on certain levels. And while China is growing or emerging growing its powers, where we see the US see it as a threat to them, still the competition is still at its bounds. And on technologies and economic level, China is growing powers. US is still maintaining their ideas as their military power is still the great one among others compared to China. And in conclusions, according to Dr. Farid, ideas is that although US and China need to coexist within each other, both have their own national interests, their strategic interests, both have their own powers to enhance, which is why China is growing its powers through the Belt and Road Initiative, and US is believe that China is a threat to them, since China have their own ideas, their own perspective on the Asian region itself. And as China is well known for their emerging powers, with its strength growing rapidly across the US allies, the geopolitical competition seems to be strong, as the rivalry are quite obvious and transparent between these both two countries. And despite the pandemic attack, both countries still have their ideas of gaining their dominion powers, of the hegemonic powers on the global orders, on the international systems. That's all from us. Thank you.